Hi there, Mark here again, and in this video I'm going to be painting and detailing this wonderful Lancia 037 hard plastic body that's going to end up on my TA02S chassis. I've already made a start on prepping the body. There are a few mould lines that go along the bonnet here, up and over, all the way down to the back. This kind of a raised line you might be able to see there, but I've taken them off as best I can to start with my hobby knife, just basically carefully scraping along the high part of the mould, get that off. So what I'm going to do now is flat this off with some really fine wet and dry paper. I'm not sure whether it will come across on the video, but the window frames around the inside of the front here are quite rough, especially where I've cut out the brace that was in there. So this is all going to get a flat off and round those as well. And then I'm going to give it a blast over with TS-26 Pure White. And at the same time I'm going to do all these parts on this parts tree in the same white, because these are going to be fitted to the car when it's all sprayed. So I'll just get on with that rubbing down and spraying, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so that's the white paint applied. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. I'm quite pleased with it overall. It certainly looks a lot shinier and whiter than just leaving it in the bare plastic. And you might be able to see, but I've got rid of most of those mould lines, and the window frames are nice and smooth now. So now it's time to start detailing. And the user guide does show clearly where to do the detailing, what colours to use, and it does say to use brush paint, which I will be doing. But I'm going to get busy with this thin Tamiya masking tape now, because there's no way I'm going to have a steady enough hand to paint around those window frames, and also around the back here. So all this has got to be flat black or matte black. There's some accents to be done in silver, and we've got a bit of orange, I think, for the indicators. So I'll just get on with the masking. Well, that's about as best I can do with the masking tape. I haven't got any of the flexible stuff, so I can't go around the really tight corners, so I have to be careful with the brush and just do that by hand. But the frames are masked off okay. I masked off the front bit here, the kind of a air intake or a grill there. That's got to be black. I'm going to have to get in there with the brush. That's all got to be black. And the most difficult part for me is going to be along the bottom of this back piece here. That's got to be a straight black line, but I can't get the tape into that because there's such an angle in there. So I've got the one on the top. I'll just have to go as best I can, and these little louver things here, well, I'll just do my best. But what I will do is I'll have some cotton buds ready, and if I do go over, I'll quickly try and wipe it off before it dries. So fingers crossed for me. Here I go with the black. Okay then, so I think that's all the detailing finished. I've just got a bit of masking tape to take off, as you can see, and I've got to say it doesn't look like there's that much to do, but it really has taken me an age. And I have seen other people doing these bodies and they haven't bothered putting all the black detailing on, and now I can see why. So I'll just take this off first, and I'll tell you why. So yeah, not too bad. I'm quite pleased with it, really. It's a little bit better than the back window frame. As you can see, I've got bits of black flaky paint everywhere. I just hope it stays on. And as I said, as far as the rest of the detailing goes, as you can see, trying to get a brush into that deep gap there was a nightmare without getting paint all over the place. The front wasn't too bad. These two here, and you've got silver there on the light, sorry, yeah, and orange. Solid orange. That didn't go too bad. I went a bit wobbly along the bottom here, but again, when it's looked at from a normal position, you can't see anyway, so that'll be fine. The door handle, you need black and a bit of silver. Okay, I've gone over the white there. It doesn't matter too much because I know the sticker's going to go around that. Again, getting the black into there was tricky. The silver not so bad for the cap. And the back, I did the best I could with a the brush trying to get a straight line. I'm quite pleased with the way it's come out, but I don't know if you can see on camera again, the actual black paint itself is awful. It just smears and streaks, and with this Tamiya flat black, when you paint it on, even after it's cured, when you put the next coat over the top, it kind of loosens up previous coat and it all just kind of clumps up on your brush and comes away from the body, from, you know, whatever you're painting. Really not impressed with that at all. Anyway, it's done now, and oh my gosh, these louvers at the back, these black louvers, it took me ages to do those, trying to get the paint down into those gaps and not all over the back of the car. Well, as I said, I had to keep wiping it off with a damp cloth or a cotton bud. But yeah, and I've ended up touching it up with a Sharpie where it wasn't quite taking properly. So that's the best I can do, but I can see why people don't bother painting all this bit. And the thing is, it tells you to paint this matte black, but then look at the stickers. You get a sticker that goes in there anyway. I have no idea why you're supposed to paint that matte black, but what I should do now I've got the edges nice and crisp is I'll be cutting off the black surround of that and just put like that pattern part in. But again, the pattern won't have much of an effect because it's black underneath. But hey, there you go, that's what Tamiya told you to do, so I've done it. So the only other bit of detailing is you've got these, I don't know, they're rivets or something. You can just see they're supposed to be silver. There's 2 on the back and 3 on the bonnet there. These louvers weren't too bad with a bit of masking tape on there. And the last bit of painting was the rear lights. If you can see there, you've got to do a clear red and a clear orange, and then the silver part goes behind and it gives you kind of the reflector effect. And yeah, so 2 of those, and that I think is all of the painting, or hopefully anyway. So what I'll do now is I'll get it ready for putting the stickers on. So I've just given the body a good rub down to get rid of all those bits of flaky paint and fingerprints and stuff with a lint-free cloth. This is for, you know, cleaning spectacles, it's ideal. So just give it a rub down with that. And what I've done is I've made a start. So as you can see, I've had a go at putting these stripes on. It was quite tricky to do, even off camera, but I did that so I could have a bit of a practice. And I'm going to try and show you how to put the ones on the other side. I'll do my best to do it on camera. I might get my head in the way, but I'll try, because this is probably the trickiest part to do, to get all these lined up. And I haven't done it exactly the same order that Tamiya say in the manual, but I'll show you how I go about it anyway. Right, so first thing I've done is cut all your stickers out. You want to cut them as close to the actual colour part of the decal as possible, leaving none of the clear plastic, because some of these are going to overlap each other and you don't want a clear bit overlapping, because you'll see it. And it's a good idea to write the number of the sticker on the back so you don't get mixed up. So with the stickers along the side, the first one to go on is this one with the cutout there for the handle. First thing to do is do a test fit, so get that lined up with the handle. That's my reference point. And then just make sure it goes all the way to the front where it should, and it should just overlap the crease in the door panel there where the door ends, and we're going to try and force that into the crease. I'm going to use my nail, try and get that in there. It's about the right width. So first thing to do is get it stuck on around the handle. So I'm just going to cut that little bit of the backing off. As I said, the important thing is to get it as close to that handle as possible. Looks about right. What I forgot to say is I had to cut a little nick out the front there, if you can see. A little nick at the top there, so it can just fit inside that window frame. Just force this bit down into the gap. It's looking alright. And then we need to get this fed along, as I say, and just up a little bit towards where the mirror will go. It looks about right. I'll give it a push down. Use my stick to get the end pressed down. Okay, so that's the first stripe on. Now it does say to put them in number order, which would be this one next, which goes up there. But I think it'll be easier to put this one on first, and we can get that lined up with the petrol cap, and it's got to go right up against that little wing there at the back, and then we can fit this one over the top afterwards, and then that red piece will just fold down over the top of the red on this decal. That's my thinking anyway. So again, I'm going to take my reference from the petrol cap. So let's get that fitted first. Again, just snip a bit of the backing off and then do a test fit again. It's going to line up there, and this piece is going to go here somewhere. So just lightly press that on, and now again we've got that body line, and I'm going to try and get the sticker to go into that line. Just carefully tease it in. Be careful, you don't actually, you could cut through it with your thumbnail if you press too hard. Okay, that's gone in now. So now what I've got to do is get it lined up with that crease there up against the wing. That looks pretty close to me. So now we've just got to get this one on top into place, and this one is going to be a bit trickier, I think. Yeah, because it's got to go again round that fuel cap, line up with the door line, and then it's got to go right into the back corner there. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to peel this off, just past where the fuel cap's going to be. Then I'm going to use this bit of backing just to stop the front part from sticking down, because I don't want to stick that down yet. I just want to get this bit around the fuel cap done. So that's looking about right. So if we just temporarily just push that into place, make sure it lines up with the sticker there, the bottom of the cap, and again I've got to force this into that crease. I'm going to use my stick again to get it in. Okay, so now just the front part of the sticker. Again, make sure that it lines up with the one that's already in place, and push the end into the gap in the door panel. Just give that a rub down, and I think that was quite a success. Right then, now for probably the trickiest bit of the whole car, which is getting these two on the front, and the main part here is that they've got to line up around the headlight recess here, as this one does. And I think the only way you can really do that is to stick the front on first. I may be wrong, but that's what I did on the other side. It was a bit of a pain, but it worked in the end. So what I'm going to try and do is do the same. It looks like the sticker's going to come up a bit short, so I might have to stretch it so that it reaches right to the back of the panel. Well, we'll see. So again, you've got to get it so it lines up, so this sticker lines up with the previous one that's fitted, and it's got to go on at the front as well. So what I'll do is I'll just temporarily tack it in place at the front. So I think the sticker has to line up like that. Hope you can see. It matches up with this line in the panel there, and yeah, so I'll just get that pressed on, and then we've got to make sure that we get this, like I said, the line there. It is going to be a bit short, so I'm going to have to stretch it a little bit. I've had this before with the Tamiya stickers where they're not quite long enough, and I've had to stretch them. But yeah, I don't know any other way around it. So it needs to come really close to the top of the wheel arch. I think we're going to get there if I just pull it a little bit more, this last bit. Just make sure the other one's going to overlap that. We should be alright, and yeah, I think I've stretched it a bit too much, but I can always trim it, which is better than it being too short. Okay then, so now for the last one. Same thing again, I'm going to stick the front on first. to get it so it exactly lines up with the edge of that light housing. And then we've just got to make sure that the edge of the blue there lines up with the body panel. Again, we should just about line up there. Right then, let's give it a stretch. Yeah, it looks like it's going to line up okay, so just take the last bit of backing off. And there we have it. Success, I think. So there you go. I hope you found that helpful. All the Martini stripes are on. It looks okay to me. I'm just going to trim this bit back here, and it's on with the rest of the stickers. Just got to glue the light lenses onto these chrome parts. Just a little dab of super glue will do the job. And then you have to glue those into the holes in the back with the orange pointing upwards. And just to note that these are keyed, there are little slots, so you can only put it the one way up, like so. So there we go, that's most of the stickers done now. Now it's time to fit on all these accessories. So we've got the front lights to make up, we've got these pods that go on the side, we've got the cover for the front lights, we've got the wipers and the mirrors, and a few more stickers for those pieces. And I know I had a bit of a moan earlier because I had trouble painting some of those details, but I've got to say, putting the stickers on, as I put each one on, the thing came more and more alive and more like the finished car, and it was a total pleasure to do. I've got to say, it's one of the most detailed bodies that I've ever done, and definitely, in my opinion, one of the best looking. Isn't it gorgeous? Absolute pleasure put that thing together. And so after fitting all these accessories on, it should look even better. So I'll get on with the windows first. So it just slots easily in place, and you get a separate bag with the hardware that you need to put all these parts on. So we'll just get, I think there's 4 nuts and bolts to hold this on. Yes, so it's 4 of these tiny 2mm nuts and bolts. I don't know if you can see in there, but we'll just drop the nut in, and it is a captive location for it, so you don't need a spanner. So it's fitted now. There's just a screw there, and then you've got 2 in the back. And again, like I said, they're captive holders for the nuts, which is nice and handy. As you can see, I've also put on the stickers. You've got these 3 on the back. You've got 1 on each of the side windows, and then you've got that across the top. And I did, little tip, put this one on first, because before I fitted it, because it's much easier then to get it nice and close and neat to that rubber line that goes round. So yeah, if you put that on first, it makes the job a lot easier. And you can see you've got the 2 wipers and the wing mirrors, and that's just simply an O-ring and an R-clip for all of those. So I'll just get the super glue out, and I'm going to glue these onto the sides of the car. And doesn't it look better with those fitted on? It kind of completes the look now with those scoops on. Put the last sticker on the body there, and yeah, that really does set the thing off beautiful. Right then, so it's just the headlights. So with the spots, you just pop the fronts in, and same with the headlights. Note that there's a bigger tab on the bottom than on the top of that plastic lens. It just clicks in like that. So now all I've got to do is get the little screws and mount these in there, mount these on the front, and the cowling on the top. I'll just get on with that, and we'll have a look at the finished car. So here she's finished, and isn't she gorgeous? Just look at that, absolutely stunning. Good look round. You can see I haven't done the cockpit for this one yet, so I've just shoved in the one from my Lancia Delta into Rally just to see what it'll look like. And yeah, look at the front end on that, absolute piece of art. I've got to say, I've done a few Tamiya bodies, and I think this one is definitely my favourite so far. So if any of you out there are wondering whether you should get a Tamiya 037, my recommendation is just go and get one. It's so rewarding, it looks so good, and I can't wait to see it in action. What I'll do is I'll just put it on the chassis and get some shots of it outside in the natural light, and you can see that at the end of the video. And all that leaves me to say is thank you for following along, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Bye.